All right, I'm sharing screen. Everybody can see my screen, right?
Mhm.
And I'm just going to kind of go through what I've done over the past 2 weeks and where we're at, and what we can. The reason that I kind of did this, and what we can. I hope how we can move this or use these tools now, or all this stuff to go forward. So first of all, I at one point I made smart contracts, or I made code for interoperability, and ChatGPT seemed to at least understand read the semantics and syntax doc, and it was able to kind of set it up. And then Dave would go through and he would tell me, oh, these errors were there. So I would actually take Dave's words. I know this is not a good command, but it's a prompt that seems to have worked well in AI. So the idea was convert over, and in this case, I was starting with ISO 20022. I asked it to convert over all the open machine readable docs into and make it into the ISO 20022 tree. And then I started to go to our past writings, and there's one article that was written in April of 2022, or in April of 2020, called eWigs: Eliminate Waste in Government Spend. So I went in and I asked it to look at all. I first asked for it to for each department and agency and such within the 3 branches of the federal government, and it came up with a list of all of them. And then I asked it to go in and under OpenGov, I think it's called Open Government Initiative, go in and convert all open source machine readable code to classes on SagaChain. And let me go into the other window here. What it came up with is what I'm calling eWigs. And now it has gone in and converted, and it started with the DoD, because eWigs was about doing the Department of Defense on chain. And basically it's for all supply chain and such like that. So it's the DFARS, which is a federal acquisition regulations. The SAM, which is sam.gov, is the platform, the contract platform. And then the DELMS, which is the logistics, defense logistics management system, in a bundle. And it went in and it grabbed all the XMLs and such, talking about what you're talking about there, Alex. And based on these instructions, it went ahead and made all these classes and objects against that library. So
Very nice.
we
Yeah, it's
got
awesome.
this completed now, guys, for I can't get rid of my thing up top, sorry. And every time I try to go into this window, my screen is there. How do I minimize that? There we go. Okay, so we've now got this completed for every single agency in the executive branch, agency, department, and committee. In the judicial branch, for instance, I've got the entire Supreme Court docket. You can go and implement appeals. You can do all filings and everything on SagaChain now. The legislative courts and such. And then, of course, I've got the entire legislature also that I coded over. So I've got the House of Representatives. I can go in and I can see all the members' names. I've got all of the dockets, or all the things that are coming up for them, all the bills and such, all the votes on them and such. And this is all now interoperable, so that Office of Public Personnel Management, the Office of Management and Budget, the GAO, the CB, the COB is CBO, Congressional Budget Office, are all connected to every single transaction that happens within the federal government. And what the final outcome here is, I've got judicial, and then there's this finally this one final, where is it? Class tree, executive, the spine. So it actually put together the spine that connects everything. So here's a canonical government spine that takes all of those classes that are created all over through all those efforts, and did that. So we now have all 3 branches of the federal government all open machine readable code is now turned into classes, and they're all individual class trees by departments, and they're connected based on the ontologies or the mappings that are applied in the files. And then I got that done. I wanted to post that to show that, this is what we talked about in 2020 that we were going to do. This is the capability here. I just expanded it. The other one I did is we did a automotive class. We did an example. This is how we proved the point. Dave implemented XBOM, the extensible blockchain object model on Hyperledger Fabric, all written in Go, to prove that, yes, we can do this on a blockchain. I took and then once he did that, we showed Oracle, we showed IBM, we showed Accenture and such at the Hyperledger Fabric Global Conference. Oracle actually asked us to OEM the XBOM to them, which I went against what we were doing, this decentralized thing. So they're more than happy to use it. And I'm still talking to Mark. In fact, I'll see him next week. It's not Oracle world anymore. It's AI world this year now, which is really interesting. Anyways, so what this does is now we've got this auto supply chain that is based on the last product. And I asked it to go in and I asked it to make the classes and such like that based on the Bosch engineering problem statement, and then Dave's solutions document on the classes that are necessary and how we're going to set up this demo. So we now have that auto supply chain demo on there. Alex, I don't know if this is something that we can start to utilize with the M2X or not, but I think it might be.
I think
the others
so.
that
It looks very good.
Go ahead.
I think it's very useful.
Okay, good. That's what I was hoping for. And then I have the financial. I did a financial class tree. This is this is kind of the spine thing. What this is doing is actually utilizing all of the standards and regulatory classes that I built in the regulatory tree and the standards tree. I just put them together in that with this spine. So we have that completely in alpha, the syntax, the semantics, and I believe now the multi-inheritance is correct. We just have to, somebody's got to go through this code and put it into the client and put in the proper, the account IDs basically where they're supposed to be and see if it runs and find out what the errors are. We've got pharma. So I've got the complete pharma. Alex, this is everything that entire white paper. I went ahead and we've coded all this stuff. And again, it's using all the regulatory and all the standards and such like this. It's actually set up for the full international. Dave was confident the other day that the ontology should be correct, right? Or should be pretty close. The AI should get that right, because if it's in the public document, this goes to here, it's pretty easy at reading that. As long as it didn't hallucinate things, we should be fine. And then I also,
as long as the document's valid too, remember.
Exactly. Yeah, as long as the document's valid, right. And then here I've got the real estate. So I've got the entire global real estate class tree. And then the last thing that I did, so we've got all those, the Saga SPSA. So this is the ownership transfer. Dave, what I did here is I went ahead and I had ChatGPT review your documents or your articles on the multi-sided marketplace, the centralized this multi-sided marketplace on the account transfer through objects. And there was one other one that you had on the asset ownership and fractionalization and such, and asked it to put together a transfer thing so that, it's using, so this is what it put together. You can look at it, or anybody can look at it and see what it is. But basically, how do you making the transfers between everything based on that? Yeah.
I don't exactly vouch that my stuff is actually formally verifiable.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah, remember, I wrote that stuff
we can
a
test
long time ago now.
There's something we can test, right? Anyways, okay. And then the final thing
I might
did,
be the one hallucinating, though. Remember?
Yeah, well, we have the environment, we can test it now, and that's the biggest thing here. So, and then the final thing that I did is I actually went in and said, okay, now that I have these 6 trees set up, the government, finance, pharma, real estate, music, because I have the music tree also for global music, royalties, everything like that. Now that that's set up, let's do the one canonical thing. And here's the all industry class tree that is kind of like the connector for everything down there: finance, music, real estate, pharma, SagaGov, the DoD, the auto supply chain. And it's just, it's kind of like the spine, again, the spine, like I guess is what they would be called or something. I don't know what the dev term would be. So this is basically, it did do well on following the semantics and such, whether it's how close to running it is. I took one of the pieces of code the other day, I think it was on the GSA or the GAO. And once I figured out where the account ID had to go, I generated a new account ID in the UI client in the web base, and I put it through there. It all went through, and it actually came up as an error in the blockchain. So the transaction errored before it won't even start. And there was just a couple lines in there, and I think it might have had to do with the multi-inheritance bug that Dave and Asa seems to have taken care of based on the testing they were doing last night. So any questions on that? And I think the whole purpose of this exercise was so that now we as a group have seeded, the Saga Standards has seeded all of these classes and trees for the industry to now come in and start to, maintain, develop, configure, fix, all the above. Questions, comments, anything?
Yeah, I think this is wonderful. And it's a very powerful use of creating the foundation with AI. And I suggest to now go into standardization via IEEE blockchain. I would love that. Because it would also be very beneficial for myself, since I'm that senior IEEE member, if I can bring this in as a standardization effort into IEEE blockchain, I would be extremely excited about that. Because now we have everything. Before we thought, okay, we we just have to bring the people in and then discuss this in a long time and so on. Mm-hmm. This would have been the old school way before AI, but now you just do all of this with AI to create the entire foundation. So you create the low-hanging fruit, yeah, where they just have to come in. I mean, the industry people, and have to start plugging the low-hanging fruit for their own conveniences. This is very different to what standardization used to be. Yeah, so you get all the people together and you're just brainstorming how it might be and how it should be and how wonderful it would be and so on. Yeah, and this takes forever. And costs a lot of money and time. And now the entire foundation is here. Probably you're quite on target, I would say, with everything. Yeah, with the power of AI. And now standardization becomes a very low-hanging fruit, because now they just have to come in from industry, take a look, play around with it, do some little in-house experimentations for themselves, give still a little bit of feedback, what extras they want, so that it suits their own needs, respectively. And that's it. I mean, this is standardization at a fraction of time and effort and costs than what it used to be. This is amazing.
So, and to that point, there's no freaking way. I mean, and it's all the work that Dave did. I give all credit to him on the environment that he created, because you couldn't do what I did in 2 weeks on a smart contract platform using ChatGPT. In fact, you probably couldn't even do what this is with smart contracts. Way too complex, way too many composability issues. this is just advanced compute so freaking far into the future in my mind. It's incredible.
I think
And
so too.
it took me 2 weeks to do this, guys, and the entire world is now on a blockchain, on a canonical persistent state global class tree.
Yes. It seems to be a breakthrough. I mean, it seems it sounds like too much almost.
Go ahead.
It is really good, guys. But you have to remember that there's a difference between defining classes and relationships, and then figuring out how to make the operational semantics, the methods actually to be instantiated. That's a little bit harder to figure out. That's we'll see how much we can train an AI engine to take that, because of course then you're usually going, unless you're going from formal language, quite often you're going from informal descriptions. That's a little bit harder to do. But as far as you can get with it, it's pretty awesome. Yes.
I think there's a pragmatic approach. So I speak there out of observed experience. So for example, when BPMN once upon a time came out, I was once upon a time in the business process automation community.
Sure.
And when this, you probably, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, BPMN is kind of the lingua franca for modeling business processes. Yeah. And BPMN, they came out with that language. It was very messy and nasty and completely, well, chaotic. Yeah. Just a bunch of pretty pictures, with model elements, and then the entire formalization took quite some time. Yeah, if you do it really, I don't know, with formal mathematics, sort of. Yeah. But there's a pragmatic way that AI surely can handle, and that's expressing the semantics first in something like OWL. Yeah. And you know OWL?
Yeah. Anytime you have something that's reasonably formal, then obviously that's something you can do. Most of it will turn out that right now, although Mike's using AI, you have to realize that most of these things, as long as they're formally specified, is just building a tool that'll do it for you anyways.
Right.
You don't really need the AI pieces, because Mike can't write tools, but it'll be pretty straightforward to translate any of those. So no, I agree with you completely. I was just saying that let's not get ahead of ourselves on what we have right now.
Yes.
We have something that's pretty cool, and it's a hell of a...
It's amazing,
And to your point, Dave,
nice.
Yeah, if I can, to your point, that's exactly why we need them to come in, right? Now, guys, we got this seeded.
Yes.
You take it from here. You're the ones that set up the
Yeah.
semantics and everything now. I'm 100%
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
We did this for
absolutely.
free. Yeah.
And you can do already a half-baked formally. I mean, you can get the semantics sorted out in a half-baked way, not in. I mean, for formalization purists, that is, it's not proper, but it's half-baked, sufficient for making the fruits hang even lower,
Everything
to
will be a message with text in there
sort out
describing what it's supposed to
OWL.
do.
Yeah.
Hey, Adele, you've been
And then-
kind of quiet on
That's
there. Do you have
cool.
any thoughts here? Sorry, Alex.
No, it's okay.
Is
Maybe
he
he's
there?
muted.
He might be on. I know he was at the UN. He might have
Okay.
joined on in his in conversation. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Alex.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think the half-baked OWL semantics generation is the next step. That is also very straightforward with AI. And then based on that, so to be honest, one of my PhD students has just come up with a skeleton paper with pretty, decent formalizations, let's call it this way, also using AI. Yeah. But of course, then if you really want to go very deep with formal semantics, then you have to lead it to give that to people who really have the proper formal computer science training. That's then a different matter. But I think that would be the next step. Maybe some OWL-based semantics expression, and then so this is kind of chained training of the AI. Yeah? First to move to the OWL from what is existent now, and then based on that training, move to a first formal semantics level with I don't know, first order set theory or something like this. Yeah. So this is what the latest versions of AI can also handle, and that's then already a really remarkably good starting point for people who do really deep level formalizations. That's
and remember, this is just ChatGPT that was used here. I was not using some specific coding.
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah. Yes. No, this is remarkable. It's really a breakthrough, and I think, I mean, now that I'm reading the white paper also, it is a very powerful concept. So moving from this generalized statefulness, that constantly has to be checked by every smart contract versus parallelized statefulness per account. This is a big step. This is definitely precisely the bottleneck that has to be overcome to make blockchains applicable for all these domains you've worked on here, for all the M2X stuff, where the current blockchains just don't cut it.
Yeah, and by the way, that overall global that was set up is set up so that anybody can add another class or anything to it. Go ahead, Dave. Yeah.
Could you just ask him to repeat what he just said? I didn't hear all of it. Sounded interesting.
Yeah, Alex, can you repeat that
statement again, Alex?
Yeah.
I've got it on recording too. Go ahead.
Okay, but I just said, as I'm reading now, kind of proofreading for myself this white paper, I think it is a real breakthrough to move from general statefulness that constantly has to be checked by every smart contract, to move to account-based statefulness, like singularized statefulness, where you have statefulness also in the objects, and this leads to parallelization. Sorry. Parallelization of statefulness, which is really the breakthrough to become applicable, certainly in combination with sharding, because this is now all coming together. It makes sharding suddenly feasible, because all the sharding I've seen so far is pretty much very heavy nonsense, if you ask me, And I mean, if you want to run, I don't know, some smart city stuff or some M2X, I don't know, smart factory or whatever, production. No, you can't use any of the current blockchain systems. It's just not possible. But with this approach conceptually, with the SagaChain, I would say this suddenly becomes feasible. Now we just have to demonstrate this in some proof of concept paper. Yeah.
So technically, of course, it's running today and demonstrated already. There's really what you're saying on the implementation side and the engineering point actually boils down to two Merkle-Patricia roots. Actually, it's really funny because that's to make this happen. You have for each account a Merkle-Patricia root of the objects that it owns, right? That's how you can verify them. And also you have history because you have previous roots. And then the second one is that each shard is maintaining its root of the current accounts that it owns. And that actually solves the problem other than figuring out how to move state between the accounts, which is the algorithm that makes that possible. But yeah, that's exactly that. It's funny, you're describing conceptually what it actually does physically. So yeah, that's really interesting. I have to be honest with you, I didn't think that was much of a breakthrough. I thought the breakthrough is figuring out how to come up with a reasonable algorithm to do the distribution, not the actual distribution itself. But if that's what's interesting to the world, great. I'm just as happy. But I mean, in the end, that's
I think
Cool.
it's very good, and it's certainly a complete paradigm change to the existing smart contract blockchain systems. But if you take a look at the paper, yeah, I'll share the link in Telegram.
Excellent.
I think
I'll read through it.
it's nice. It's explained in a very approachable way with many nice, easy figures, and yeah. So it would be good if you
can
could
explain it better
provide
than
some
me.
feedback on that.
If you can explain it better than us, we'll be just as happy too, because it's very hard to
Yeah.
get anybody to get what we're doing. So I'm just happy with that too.
Yeah. No, I
And
mean
that's why I'm
you
hoping
have
it's
of course.
showing.
Yeah.
I've always tried to get to the point where I can start to show, right? What I'm doing right now, I actually
Yes.
did it for an individual the other day, and he kind of got it, right? He's like, "Oh my God, what did you really did that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is here." In fact, guys, the code is up in GitLab under SagaChain. It's code.sagachain/SagaChain/SagaStandards. And it's sitting there for anybody to go and start to fix, right? Go in and here, debug it. Put it into the web UI and debug it. Or download the silly. Yeah.
I think it could have.
I mean,
cool.
Dave's built a really freaking incredible thing. We have a lot of tools, and it's here to now start to test and create things with and understand what the potentials are. We just need to find eyes in order to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the papers, paper comes out, and then hopefully Vipin can take this further with Vimo to publication. Then there's really something, that's organized coherently in these papers that can be shown around, and then maybe still some demo videos that would also be good. Seeing is believing, yeah. And such demo videos, they can also be linked to in the white paper version for the peer reviewing, yeah. And then you really have something to send around to some corporate PhDs who work in some research lab for bigger companies and so on. They will get it, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's it'd be nice to find people to finally do, right? Just to understand I knew what the breakthrough, I knew it was a breakthrough a long time ago, regardless of what it was. We knew that this is a technology that is moving forward in industry. And but what it turned out to be is much more than I ever thought it would be. Although not really, because I wrote those articles in 2020 on eWigs, on putting a use case for a securities class tree, a unique ID. In fact, Clark asked that question in there. I didn't see that he left. He can absolutely, because I saw him the other day, right? He was going to write an article about unique ID on blockchain, using blockchain. And so he said he wants to do a SagaChain. I thought he was already thinking that. So absolutely he can.